Greetings. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Purpose Journey Counseling. Welcome to September. It's officially September. Today is September 1st, 2022. So I want to say good morning to you. It is a new day, it is a new month. We are here. I cannot believe that we have just a few more months in this year. And then 2022 will be coming to an end. But I want to say good morning to you on behalf of Purpose Journey Counseling. My name is Dr. Natatu North, and I'm the owner and therapist of Purpose Journey Counseling, LLC, located in Cincinnati, Ohio. So I want to greet you this morning. We are live this morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And following this live broadcast, I will post the YouTube link for the broadcast on Instagram. So, good morning. We are live. We are getting ready to start our day. It is Friday Eve, also known as Thursday. So, we are here this morning in a new month. I want to invite you to please like our social media platforms. Please follow us on social media. Again, that's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and please share these videos. Please share these videos with someone you love and maybe share them with someone maybe you don't like all that much. That's actually a really nice thing to do, to share these things, to still encourage each other, to still show love. Even if there could be some friction there, it's okay. But I also invite you to also engage and interact in the comment section. Again, as I always say, because we're encouraging each other. Of course, I'm utilizing this platform to speak to all of you, but that does not mean that, we can't still be collaborating, interacting, and engaging with each other because we have a lot to share with each other. So I want to invite you to do that. So it is Thursday/Friday Eve. So on Thursday, we have Thursday Thoughts. I almost wanted to go live last night, and I got off pretty late. It was late, but I almost wanted to go live last night because it's just like a recurring theme that kept coming up. This comes up often actually in sessions, but it came up in individual sessions, couple of sessions. It just kept coming up, and I wanted to just put this out there. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible because this is something that I'm very passionate about. This is something that is always on my mind. It is something that you're going to read about later. I'll just say that and I'm not going to say anything else. Okay, but you'll read about it later. I want to encourage you this morning to speak your truth. Speak your truth. A lot of us, many of us, are holding on to things that need to be spoken. They need to be said. There are some things, yes, sometimes it's better to be quiet. Absolutely. Sometimes we need to just put a muzzle on our mouth, literally, or even figuratively. Don't say a word. Keep it to yourself. It's not worth it. But sis, bruh, some stuff needs to be stated. There are things that we hold on to. There are situations that we are in that require a response, or maybe it's not even a response. It requires some spoken word. Why, Dr. Natatu? Why do I need to be saying things to people? Because a lot of us are holding on to so much stuff, it's literally driving us insane. It could be a conversation. It could be, you're being mistreated and you're scared to say something because you don't know what's going to happen in the situation. Especially when I talk about work because let's face it, a lot of us, we do work. It could be in the workplace. You're being mistreated in the workplace, like actually mistreated, like not one of those situations where it's questionable. No, it's being mistreated or abused in those situations. You got to be able to speak on it. It could be a relationship where it's hanging like by a thread, and the only way it's going to survive is if you speak your truth and tell them what your concerns are. And it's not speaking with malicious intent. It's not speaking for the purposes of trying to prove a point or be right. No, it's speaking it so you're not holding on to it. So you're not letting these thoughts and letting these feelings that you have completely destroy you internally. You know, I saw a quote before that says something about, I told my therapist that I keep my mouth shut to keep the peace around me. But then the therapist said something like, what about the peace inside of you? Your peace is disturbed when you got all this stuff going on and you're warring in your mind, you're warring in your heart, you're warring with everything internally because you're not speaking it. And I know one of the concerns that we can have is, you know what, I don't know how they're going to take it. I don't know how they're going to respond to it. I don't know if this is going to cause more issues. You know, I could just need to shut my mouth because I'm not ready for the response that I'm going to get. Sis, bro, I'm going to say this. You're responsible for what you say and how you say it. You're not responsible for how others receive it. Say that again to yourself. You are responsible for what you say and how you say it. You are not responsible for how others receive it. That is not being, what's the word I'm looking for? Like dismissive. It's not being, you know, well, I don't care what you think. I'm going to say what I got to say. No, it's saying, speaking in love, speaking again, not with malicious intent, being very cognizant of what you're saying and how you're saying it, with no intent to harm, no intent to hurt, even if what you have to say they might not want to hear. That's okay too. That's okay. Sometimes the stuff that you need to say, the person needs to hear it. They don't want to hear it, but they need to hear it. Guess what, sis, bruh, it needs to be said in some situations. It still needs to be said. It's not okay to walk around holding on to these things. It creates so much resentment, bitterness, frustration. Some of us are irritated, and it's because we're holding on to so much trash and garbage. And just think, if you didn't take your garbage out in your house and you just let it pile up, it starts to stink after a while. So some of us are dealing with so much stuff internally and it's stinking. So when you're walking around people, they smell it. And it's like, oh, something going on with her, something going on with him. Like, what is the issue? It's because we need to be speaking our truth. Some things need to be said. Storing it will cause you to explode. And trust me, it will be messy. What I like to tell people is, if you at least plan for the conversation, you can't plan how the other person's going to respond. You could think about potential options of what maybe could happen, but you can't really plan for that. But when you plan what you say, at least that gives you a little bit more forethought. That gives you some more planful conversation, like you're actually being very, very intentional on what you're saying, even if you got to write it down before you say it, so that it's very, very particular to what needs to be stated. But when you store it, it's going to come out anyway. You tuck it down, it's going to come back out, because you can only tuck it for so long. And when it comes out, it's going to go all over the place and it's going to be messy. It's like, again, stuffing that trash, like all this trash bag, just stuffing stuff. And eventually it's all going to come out, or the bag is going to pop open, because guess what? There's too much stuff in it. So at some point, we have to learn to speak our truth. And we're going to hear more about this. We're going to talk about this again. This is on my mind this morning, was on my mind last night. Thursday thoughts. Speak your truth. There are some things that you need to say. And guess what? They not going to be ready to hear it sometimes. And guess what? That's okay. Doesn't mean it doesn't need to be said. And sometimes relationships get severed with those things. That's okay too. But we have to be able to do that. We have to be able to process. That's actually how we build relationships anyways, by being honest with each other. This is not about taking it in and, oh, I can't say nothing. No, it needs to be said. And yes, the consequences of that sometimes might not be what we definitely want internally, but it still could be what's necessary. I'm trying to wrap it up. Don't remember where this came from, but I want to say this. Say it with your chest. Or whisper if you must. I don't remember where that came from. It's like, say it with your chest. Like, be bold, be confident in what you're speaking. But if you can't do that, that's okay. You can whisper it. But guess what? If you're whispering it, it still got off your chest. You still said it. It still was put out there. You're not holding it in. People, hear me. Hear me. We need to start dialoguing with each other. It's necessary to have these conversations even when they're uncomfortable. We got to stop holding on to stuff. That's why we're bitter. That's why we ain't talking to people. Yeah, that's my improper English for this morning. We ain't talking to so-and-so because there's just something that needed to be said and it could have just been squashed. It might cause some issues in a minute, but it just needs to be stated. Speak your truth. A lot of stuff needs to be said. Like I said, there's some things that's probably better off not, because it's just, you really just want to tell somebody off. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those things that you've been holding on to for the last 20 years and you just ain't never said nothing. Speak your truth. We'll throw this up there again. Say it with your chest. But if you can't, that's okay. Or whisper if you must. We're going to talk about this again because I want to wrap it up. But it's so important. We got to stop holding on to it. That ain't making nothing better. There's my English again. It's not making anything better. I want to avoid a conflict. I want to avoid a confrontation. I want to avoid an argument. Maybe you need to have that argument. And then guess what? Then now it's been stated, you can move forward. But if you're still holding on to it, you arguing with yourself. So maybe you're not arguing with them, but now you're arguing. Should I say something? I'm not going to say nothing. You stupid. Like you're doing all this stuff. And if you would just say it to them, then it's released and you can move forward. So speak your truth. Speak your truth. So as we're speaking our truth, we're doing these things. I still want to encourage you to be loving, to be kind, compassionate, and intentional in your speaking your truth, in everything that you're doing, in your interactions and engagement with people. We can still do these things even when we don't like the person we're dealing with. We can still do these things because if we do these things, they go a very, very, very long way. So Sunday, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the information. So as I've been saying, on Sunday, September 4th, that's this Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live, we will have Hashtag from a Christian, Hashtag from a Therapist with Dr. Natatu. Episode 4, I'm going to go ahead and give you the title. It's me. For me, I'm choosing me. Not going to say nothing else. If you want to find out what that's about, I mean, it's about me. Me, meaning you too. It's about me, but at the same time, you got to join us to find out what we're talking about. We'll be live on all social media platforms. Join us. Our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Join us. You don't want to miss Sunday. I thank you so much for being here this morning. I'm really trying to wrap this up. I want to say so much more. I'm going to cut it. I thank you for joining us this morning. I thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow, Lord willing, for Friday Fun. We'll be live again at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll put that up there again. If you got to make a list of some things, speak your truth. You don't have to walk around here pretending. Pretending is tiring anyway. It's too much work. And you're going to be miserable. There's my English again. You're going to be miserable. Speak your truth. Get it off your chest. Say it with your chest. Or whisper if you must. But it's so important to speak it. And I'm not just saying right. No, speak it, say it, get it off your chest, get it out there. It goes a really long way. So I thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm going to shut it down right now because it's been almost 15 minutes. So I thank you for joining. God bless you. God keep you. Have a very thoughtful Thursday. Very thoughtful Thursday. And blessings and love to each and